Hello, I thought it was about time that I made another video because I don't think I've done one since January and it is now May. I mean, I have done a couple of videos that I've put on Patreon, which are free to view. You don't actually have to be a member to watch them, but they are over on Patreon. But I haven't actually done anything on YouTube for months and months and months, and not since Christmas. So I am cobbling together a new Studio Diaries video from loads of random footage that I've been taking for the past few months, and just thought I'd just explain what's been going on roughly in summary, and yeah, I suppose I better get started. So I thought I'd start with a little introduction to my desk areas. So on the left here I have my office space. So this space on the left is a desk that I primarily use for writing, for planning, for doing everything on my MacBook. So MacBook video editing, things like that. I have my planners over this side of the room, and it's generally more sort of admin writing focused, I would say, over on this side. And then next to that desk I have basically the storage. This is the only kind of storage I have in my studio space. So notebooks, planners, both used and unused. I've got paints, I've got stickers, you name it, the usual stuff. It is a very pared down amount of stuff because I'm trying to keep things fairly minimal, trying to kind of limit all of my stuff to this one area. And it's actually been really nice because I've been using my own stickers. So these are sticker designs I did quite a few years ago now. But it's been really nice to actually use my own sort of labels to label up my boxes of supplies, like watercolours and sketchbooks and things. So that's been really fun. So yeah, just all my sort of bits and bobs that I need to keep with me are in this little corner. I've got this gorgeous window ledge here, lovely and deep, and on that I have my little easel, which is, I haven't used it for painting, to be honest, I've just used it for display. Drying things in the window, but that's what's over on the window ledge, along with a few knickknacks and bits and bobs. It's a nice warm spot to dry my paintings in the window, essentially, at the moment. And then over to this side I have my sort of painting drawing desk. So this is a kind of a fairly new setup. I used to only have one desk, but I've made myself have two because it's really good to have a separate desk for painting and drawing, so that I can leave all my painting drawing things out on this desk, not worry about sort of all the mess being in the way. So yeah, that is basically how I have my little studio set up at the moment. So yeah, that was a super quick tour of my workspace. If I might do what's it called, a studio tour at some point, but for the moment that's just a little brief introduction because I know a lot of things have changed since I last did a studio vlog. So I'm still working in my sketchbooks, I'm still working in my journals. I think my setup from the beginning of the year hasn't changed that much. I'm probably going to do a 6 months sort of review video at some point, going through all my journals and things. What I have been doing since the start of January has been doing a lot of digital work. I've still been playing around on my iPad using Procreate mainly, which has been really fun. Sort of getting to know the brushes and things like that. So the majority of my work on Patreon up until this month has been entirely digital. So it's all been drawn digitally on an iPad. But very recently I decided that I wanted to just kind of get back to doing more traditional painting. I really enjoyed doing a lot of digital work, definitely enjoyed doing it. It's a really amazing tool and I'm really glad I got my iPad. It's been really useful. But I do need to have a little bit of a break from doing digital work because I'm feeling the need to do more practical stuff. So I have been consciously trying to get my painting back up again to speed. So I got my gouache paints out and I just had a little experiment, bought a couple of new sketchbooks. New supplies usually sort of kickstarts you into doing something new. So I got my paints out and had a little play with those. And I'm glad to say that in May my Patreon sheets, digital sheets, were all based on actual painted artwork rather than digital stuff. So that was quite nice. I'm not going to completely forget doing digital, and I still use my iPad and Procreate in terms of when I was actually making the sheets up, but I think it's really important to sometimes come back to the traditional methods because There's definitely a big joy in doing more tactile, physical things that you can't necessarily get from digital. So from now on, I'm going to kind of keep more of a balance between the two rather than doing all of one and all of the other. So at the beginning of May, I actually set myself a big project of going through all my old journals, notebooks, sketchbooks from a long time ago. And it was really hard work emotionally as well as physically, going through all my notebooks. This is just sort of the aftermath. This is what, like, I got loads of blank paper that I kept back, which I'm going to use for note paper. And I have actually digitized, is that the word? All of my old journals now. So rather than keeping piles and piles and piles of them, I've actually just photographed the bits that I think are important, and I have disposed of the rest, which feels really good. And in doing so, I came across a couple of old sketchbooks, which I'm just flicking through for you now. I just thought it was quite interesting to look through and see what my old styles were. So this sketchbook is actually from about 2007 this is from. This is the first time I ever moved to Japan. I bought this sketchbook there. And I had a lot of ideas back then about making products and things. I was still sort of into selling things on Etsy. And after being in Japan, I actually came back to London for a bit, and I did a children's book illustration course. And I remember this is the book I used when I went to that course, taking notes and doing the drawing exercises and things. So it isn't like a fully used sketchbook. I think I had probably large sketchbooks on the go alongside this one. That little mermaid on a moped there, I actually made it into a fabric printed with spoon flower. That was quite fun. So yeah, looking through these pages is kind of nostalgic for me. Looking back to see all my sort of old style of doing things. Sort of mixed feelings really, because some of it I'm like, oh no, why did I do that? But obviously most of it is totally fine. It's just a process, isn't it? It's just a process of learning and practicing a skill at the end of the day. I just didn't know what I was doing or where I was going. This is, in the days before I even thought about doing YouTube or Patreon or anything like that. So it was all focused on what, doing drawings would have to be focused on something like doing a children's book or doing a product that I would then sell on Etsy. Neither of which are really my focus anymore, I have to say. Maybe a book one day, but I'm not really feeling that at the moment. And it's interesting because I can sort of see my style just starting to come through. I know at the time people said to me, oh, they'd recognise my drawings, and I sort of do recognise them, but actually looking at these styles now, it's very far removed from what I do now. But I do love these little aliens and these little mushroom dudes. They're really cute. So I can kind of see that my drawings now are very similar to those ones, which is good because I did this whole page of drawings, and I've obviously focused in on the ones that I do like, and I've sort of developed that particular style, which I suppose is what happens when you do lots of drawing. And then this second sketchbook, I'm only going to show you two today. This second sketchbook was when I came back from Japan and I was living in London again. And it looks like I'm doing sort of a visual diary. And I don't know where I got this idea from. I have a vague feeling in those days, I wasn't on Instagram. It was probably Flickr. I know people like Gemma Coral or Corel used to do sort of what did I wear today, what I wore today, wasn't it? And sort of visual journaling type stuff on there. So I probably picked it up on there. So this is in an actual sketchbook, but I suppose I was using it more like a journal. So it was a mixture of doodles, drawings, things stuck in. If I went to see a film or something, I'd stick a picture in. Sort of, it's quite exploratory, I suppose. And some of it is obviously food diaries and things that actually happened during the day. I was drawing all the drinks I had, all the food I ate, things like that. I mean, I never stuck with anything for all that long. So you can see here I did like food diaries for a couple of weeks, but I got bored of that fairly soon and just started doing other random things. That top left picture is me at my desk at work. I used to work at children's publishers, and that's me dreaming about going to Japan at my desk. And then this is a little cartoon I did of my body clock. Hard to wake up every single day of the week, except for on the weekend, when you can suddenly wake up very early for no reason. I wouldn't say that I did that because I wanted to kind of get into cartooning. I don't know why. I probably just had the idea and just decided to draw it. This is what I wore today. Back in the day when I used to care about what I wore a bit more. Spent a lot of money on fast fashion to try and be, expressive of who I was. And I mean, this is what my late 20s, I think this would have been. I can't remember now. I'm a bit more relaxed about those kind of things nowadays, but yeah, it's quite cute little drawings about what, my outfits of the day. We've got a bit of trip planning here. I was going for another trip to Japan again that year, and I was sort of making lists of things that I wanted to have in my hand luggage. Because there were certain things I like to have in the cabin, like warm socks and lip balm and stuff. So I was just making myself a list of things I needed to take. A few more random doodles. So that's not what I wore today. That's just some random doodles of things, I think. And then it looks, bottom right page, you can see that I actually bought some brush tip pens for the first time. So I'm spending all my spare money on art supplies. So this is the first time I think I used the Tombow brush markers back in the day when they first came out, or first became popular anyway. And, there's a mixture of some terrible pictures on that page and some, okay ones. But at the end of the day, it's all experimental. And then towards the end of the sketchbook, it stops being sort of like a diary and it ends up just being random doodles, I think. There's a picture of me at the gym trying to read whilst on the cycling machine, but otherwise it's just random drawings, I think, throughout the rest of the sketchbook. So I think for now I'm probably going to keep the sketchbooks. As I said, I got rid of all my journals and diaries and things, but I think for now I might keep the sketchbooks, but it might not be forever. I don't know how other people feel about that. On one hand, I think they're probably the nicest thing to keep, to look through, but at the same time they just take up so much space. And being someone who's moved so many times in my life and having to pack all these things up every time, sometimes it gets a bit like, oh God, you have to sort of weigh up the use of them to you, like what do they bring to your life and what do they take away. So yeah, the jury's out on that one. I haven't decided what I'm going to do. I'm just going to have to wait and see how I feel, I think. But for now I'm going to keep them because they're quite fun to look through. So I'm sorry if this feels like a really random studio diaries. It's just me piecing together loads of footage I've taken over the past months, just to kind of get you up to speed, really. So this is my Patreon sheet for May. So I just printed this out last week or the week before last, so I thought I'd share that with you and cut all the bits out, and I'm quite excited to use these in my journal. If anybody wants to see my journals like in more detail, please let me know, because I don't really do videos like that very often, but if anybody's interested, I'd be quite happy to show you. So I've done sort of like a little trial piece of footage for you. This is me sticking some pieces of my collage sheet printable into my journal. So I am still using the weeks. That is still my everyday carry. I've been using the Hobonichi weeks for several years now. I couldn't say how many years exactly. And I don't tend to decorate it too much. It is my sort of practical memory, not memory keeping, what's it called? It basically keeps my brain in order, so I don't have to remember everything. It's like my brain in a book. So I don't do too much decoration in there, but I do stick a few stickers in the front just to make it sort of like what it is to kind of ground it in that year for me, because a lot of the drawings I did, particularly that one of the gateway, a lot of the drawings I do in a year are very related to what's going on in my life during that year. So therefore, if I stick those stickers from that year in my journal, when I open it up, I'm like, oh yeah, that was the year that this happened, or I was feeling this way. So I've decided I'm going to put my little month stickers up the side of my monthly pages in here. And I did this a couple of years ago. In 2022, I did the same thing, and it actually made it really easy to flick to the pages. I found it much easier when you're trying to find which month it is. Obviously, the writing is quite small in the Hobonichi, and it was quite good to be able to have these monthly stickers on the side. It made it really easy to flick through. That was my lighthouse year, my lighthouse symbol year. I had a lot of lighthouse symbolism. So I thought what I'd do is do the same with these stickers and put them all up the side of my weeks for this year. And as for the other stickers, I am going to just pop a couple in here and then decide a bit later on about what I'm going to do with the rest of them. So this is my traveller's notebook with my monthly vertical insert. So this is my memory keeping for the year. So I kind of go off with this and don't use it for like weeks on end, and then I come back to it and sort of backfill. But I do want to sort of get back into it a little bit more because it has been really, really fun. So that was a spread from February, and then as you can see, around about March, I just kind of didn't do quite so well with it, and all of April is completely empty at this point. So essentially, because I produce one A4 printable sheet on Patreon a month, my months tend to be sort of themed in this notebook. So for a whole month, I'll have like my own stickers that I've done for Patreon, as well as obviously other ephemera and photos and things. And what I tend to do is I stick the header from my Patreon printable sheet in on the day that I released it. So in May, I released my printable on the 10th. It's a little bit later than usual. I normally try and do it right at the beginning, but I'm a bit behind at the moment. So I just stick my little header in just to sort of mark the day that I actually released it. And I'm just going to stick this random sticker in here just because I like it. It's probably one of my favourite ones. And that's about all I do at this point. I don't like to necessarily stick lots of stickers in ahead of time. I know some people like to do that, like fill some blank pages and stick stickers in before they get to those days, but I tend to just do it as I go. I'm more of a backfiller. I'm more of like going back and filling in gaps with random stickers to use things up, let's just say. So normally when I've printed off my printable and I've cut all the shapes out, I maybe stick a couple in just to kind of get me started, but then I get out my little sticker refill book and I fill that one up with them. So I keep my little sticker book in this little pouch. This pouch has my sticker book in, and it has a few like loose flake stickers. It has some tiny bits of ephemera that I might use, and it does actually have a few washi tape strips, and it's just a sort of a grab and go sticker stash for me. I mean, I never go out journaling. I don't really do that much travel journaling at all. But I just like to have it in all together in like a little pouch. So in here are stickers that are sort of leftovers from previous month sheets. There's some bits by Erin Ware in here. I've got some washi tape. And it's constantly sort of evolving. So I'm constantly sticking things in and taking things out. And I quite like it because it's almost like a temporary journal. Does that make any sense? I don't know if anybody else is like this, but I just enjoy sticking stickers down. It's just a very simple delight for me to stick stickers down and pick them back up again. And it's just quite nice to stick them in here, and then later on obviously I'll be taking them out again, but just the actual act of sticking them on the page and arranging them and finding one that's going to fit in the space, I actually just really enjoy this process. So it tends to be that on each page I like to have one new sticker. So you'll see me go through this book and adding in like a new sticker onto each page, so that each one has a bit of blue on it, for example. And I think it means, I mean, logically, it would probably be better to do them all by size, wouldn't it? And then when I'm looking for a certain size or a certain theme, I could come back and find the stickers. But I don't know, I just enjoy sticking them in quite randomly. It sort of makes it exciting for me when I open it up, trying to find something to put down. So I thought I'd just give you a little flip through of my sticker book. So the first page has stickers. Most of these are by Happy Daya stickers, apart from the 3 pink yoga girls at the bottom, and I have forgotten who those are done by. I'm so sorry. If I remember, I will put them in the description below. And I've got some Midori stickers there, champagne and wine glasses, which clearly I'm not drinking enough because I never have any reason to use those. So I should schedule some drinking in. There are some illustrated stickers there by the Japanese illustrator and book author Yoshitake Shinsuke. I've got those beautiful moths, butterflies, and the OK sticker by Erin Ware. Absolutely gorgeous printables Erin does. There's obviously a little photo booth sticker there from absolutely years ago, me and my boy, absolutely ages ago. Everything else in this sticker book that I don't mention is my stuff from over the years, by the way. Washi tape, bottom right, and some Native American artwork stickers that I got from a museum about 25 years ago, probably now. Yeah, it's just quite nice to have a look through here and see all my memories of like, oh, those are those stickers I did 2 years ago in autumn. Whatever. I mean, eventually I hope to use them all up. I've got a lot of label stickers in here that I'm obviously waiting to find a use for. I'm going to put them on boxes and things like that. I definitely do use up that 2024 sticker because that's only going to be useful this year. I've got more label stickers here that I'm waiting for a use for. I really love that flower one. It's gorgeous, but I just haven't decided what I'm going to use it for. I need more things to label, clearly. And that diamond one with the girl in the middle of it, I feel like that needs to go on the front of a notebook, so I might be saving that for something. Those stickers on the right are from Daiso, the 100 yen shop in Japan a couple of years ago. More stickers that could be used as labels. And I think we're just about coming to the end now. So yeah, that's my little pocket sticker book. So just to finish off the video really, I'm just going to go through one of the other big projects that I've been up to for the past couple of months. Now, Patreon is an absolutely brilliant setup. I really enjoy using it. I'm loving being on there. But there is a little bit of an issue with you when you're uploading things to share with people on Patreon. You share them with your subscribers, your paid subscribers. You can end up with quite a backlog of things, and you can end up with like over a year's worth of things on there that are completely free. And at some point you have to decide as an artist which ones you're going to archive and when, and then what you're going to do with them. And up until recently I was selling them on Etsy, but I kind of got a bit fed up with Etsy. I didn't really like the direction the website was going in, and coincidentally, thankfully, Patreon now has a shop feature on it, and you can actually set up a little shop to sell things through Patreon, and it's going to be a lot simpler for me because I only sell digital items, and because I receive money through Patreon anyway monthly, it'll be easier for me to get all my money all in one go from one source. So I spent quite a few weeks going through all my old sheets here and archiving them and putting them into a shop on Patreon. Now, I don't know how many of you watching this are familiar with Patreon. It is obviously a website where you can pay money to do a subscription and sponsor your favourite artists and support people. But they have now offered this new function where you can actually follow for free and you can become a free member. And I think the majority of people that follow me on there are free members, and it's really good because like other people, I know what it's like to not have much money. I live on a very, very small budget here in the UK because you have to, because the cost of living is ridiculous, and because I'm working part-time. So I know what it's like to not have enough money to sort pay for every single subscription there is going. So I'm really glad they offered this free service, because it means that you can sort of follow an artist for free on Patreon, and see all their updates and see the things they're posting, but you're not committed to paying for things. Now obviously that means you're not going to get the items that Patreon members give out. So I give away digital sheets every month, and obviously unless you pay the subscription you won't get those, but it does mean that you can get any freebies that I put up. I put a few videos up on there. There are Patreon only as well, so it's worth checking out. I mean, I know that it has a reputation for being something that you pay for, but just bear in mind there is that free tier, as it were. So I'm just showing you now all of the sheets that I've done over the years through Patreon, and these are all in my shop if you want to go and look at it. But I'm not really, the reason I filmed this honestly is not to be like a YouTube advert so that you're looking at it and going, oh, I'm going to go and buy those sheets. It's actually because I never did this until now. I've never actually looked through all my old work, and it's amazing. Like, it's amazing how much I've done. Like, I was really surprised. So I went through all my old sheets and obviously went through the archiving project, and I printed them all off on quite high quality paper. And I've decided what I'm going to do with these sheets is I'm going to make a portfolio. Now, back in the day, you'd make a physical portfolio like this, and you'd lug it around and you'd show, illustration agents, or if you were applying for university to go for an art course, you'd take along your portfolio, your physical portfolio like this, to show people. And these days, everything tends to be done online, doesn't it? You'd have a website with all your stuff on. And obviously I do have things on Instagram. Instagram is probably like the equivalent of my digital portfolio, but actually it's really nice to have physical copies. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put all these in a folder, I think, and just look through them from time to time to remind myself how far I've come, I suppose. So if anybody else watching this is a Patreon creator and you do digital sheets, I highly recommend keeping a physical archive, just one really decent copy of all the sheets you've done, just to give yourself that sensation of like accomplishment, and to remind yourself of all the hard work basically that you've been doing, because it is a lot of hard work producing all these sheets every month. I mean, I used to do 3 sheets a month when I wasn't working full time, or working a job outside the home when I was living in Japan, and I sort of amazed when I look back at how much I actually managed to get done then. And it's kind of bittersweet in a way, because I would love to have more time to do more artwork these days. But I don't know. What I'm trying to say is printing these out was just really satisfying for me, because it meant that I could sort of look through them and see my progress, which I think is a really important thing to do as a creator. Okay, so I'm going to wrap the video up now. It's been a bit of a strangely formatted video. It's been very hard to edit, and I hope it doesn't come across as too sort of bitty. It hasn't been my usual Studio Diaries format, but it's just because I haven't filmed for so long, and there's sort of been so much random stuff going on behind the scenes that it's been kind of hard to squeeze it all into one video, to be honest. I do, as always, hope to be doing more videos, more sort of one subject themed rather than lots of bitty bits. And I think I'm definitely going to do a 6-monthly review of my journals and diaries and planners and things at the end of June. I think I'll probably be doing that one next month. If you've got any other requests for videos you'd like to see, anything in more detail, let me know. But otherwise, I will hopefully be back shortly to do another video. So I hope everybody's well. Thank you so much for watching. I will do my best to answer comments if you leave anything down below, and take care, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.